My name's Mandy, I'm 52 and I'm from Milford Haven in Pembrokeshire in South West Wales. My experiences of secondary breast cancer was that I was diagnosed straight to secondary breast cancer in 2021. Having found a small lump, I went to my GP who referred me to the breast care clinic and made a referral of which I was seen within sort of about 10 days. Had a mammogram, had ultrasound and biopsies, and they confirmed there and then that I had breast cancer. So it was during COVID time, so I was on my own for that, which was hard. And coming back and telling the family was really tricky. Within a couple of days, I'd been sent for a scan, and they discovered that it had already spread to my spine, so was diagnosed with a de novo diagnosis. My knowledge of primary and secondary breast cancer was fairly limited. I regularly checked myself, but my knowledge and understanding of the terminology wasn't anything that I'd experienced or had any knowledge of. We didn't have any family or friends that had suffered, so it was all very new to me. I didn't know that you could go from straight to secondary and have a de novo diagnosis. I didn't understand the terminology of what the difference was between stage 4, metastatic, secondary. Those were all terminologies that I wasn't used to hearing when talking about breast cancer. So following my diagnosis, I met with my oncologist. Obviously, where we live in a remote rural community, so my oncologist is actually from away, so has to come down to clinic. So I did meet him face to face initially, and he explained that my cancer had spread to my spine. So I live at home with my husband Mark. We've been together 24 years and have two boys, Luke who's 21, Dan who is 15 and Luna who is 13, golden cocker spaniel, who's very much part of the family. At the moment, life's a little bit different from when I was first diagnosed. I was working for the NHS. I've been working with the learning disabilities team for 27 years, loved my job and had very supportive team around me who went and did charity walks to raise money for us as a family, have a really great manager. But due to the side effects and due to the struggles that I've been having with my mobility, pain and fatigue, I've had to be off work for over 6 months now. I've just made the decision that actually for me and for my family, we're looking that I retire on ill health, which has been really hard because that's a big part of my identity. Work was really important for me and I really enjoyed it. But I know that I can't give it what it needs, and my clients and my team deserve more than what I'm able to give them at the moment. So I'm just realising that I've got to focus on myself and look for what's best for me. Living with secondary breast cancer in a rural community can be quite tricky. We sometimes have to travel quite a long distance to get treatment. We don't have things like a Maggie's or a Macmillan in the county that we can use face-to-face services for. So when you're really seeking somebody that's got a similar experience or is going through the same thing, I found it really helpful to try and find people. But unfortunately in Pembrokeshire, especially Pembrokeshire because we are rural, that was quite tricky. We didn't until recently have any secondary breast cancer community nurses specialists, so that was really difficult. We've now got one in post in Pembrokeshire, so that's really positive. And Wales is now out there to improve that and get posts so that patients can be supported from when they are diagnosed all the way through their treatment, because their treatment is obviously ongoing. It doesn't just stop, and your needs change throughout your diagnosis and your treatment. So to have that person is really important. So that was a struggle because I found when people have a primary diagnosis, there's lots of involvement from healthcare professionals, but once you're diagnosed as secondary, that seems to change. And because I hadn't had primary breast cancer before, I didn't have any understanding about medications or treatments. So I found that quite tricky, not to have anybody that I could go to that was specific to either a de novo diagnosis or for a secondary breast cancer diagnosis. I think for anybody that's been recently diagnosed, be kind to yourself. It's a really difficult diagnosis. I think you're going to have ups and downs, and I think just take one day at a time. Go to reputable websites and support groups for the support that you're looking for and for the advice and for the information. And it's okay to not be okay on some days, because it is such a roller coaster of emotions that you can be having a really good day and feel great and then suddenly get hit with a wall of emotions and you think, well, where did that come from? So I think be kind to yourself